Well, welcome back to Can Angels Fly. Once again, I'm Nancy, and I'm here for part two of Nancy in Wonderland's Age of Deception. Now, a few hours have passed since I created the first video, so let's see if I can kind of remember where I left off. In this video, I am sharing my life experiences to try to show you or reveal to you the things that are taking place in our world. These things, which are only a few, are what are implementing and supporting the age of deception. I believe I left off talking about weapons. The weapons I began to speak about are those that affect the senses. I know this dog ain't about to start barking. Sensory weapons, such as sound, scrappy, for real, or weather, extreme adjustments in temperature. I have also dealt with these things as well. What do I mean by sound? This is another experience that I found that people have been having over the last few years, and they've posted their experiences on YouTube. And it is to hear, and I've had it in different ways, to hear vibrations. Who is that? Oh, okay, I'm making video, that's all. Okay, to hear vibrations. It's like similar to like when a dog hears, they say a dog can hear a whistle at a certain pitch. It's like that. How you doing that? Oh, okay. It's similar to when a person describes a dog hearing a whistle. Only certain creatures, dogs, can hear the whistle when it is blown. I have heard continuous vibrations, so high pitch that everybody doesn't hear it. And it goes on and on and on for hours sometimes. And it's like this, it'll lead you to the state of insanity, because you're like, oh my goodness, when is it gonna stop? And then of course they're kind, who is they, whomever is doing it, kind enough to stop. But it has gone on for so long, and it is so annoying to the point you be like, is it gonna happen again? Is it gonna happen again? And by the time you relax your shoulders and you forget about it, hot damn, here it come again. The vibrations that I hear are not always the same type of vibration, but that tone is still so numbing and annoying to it's, like I said, possible to cause insanity. Another sound weapon that I have dealt with is directly connected to the last subject I talked about, or category I dealt with in the last video. And it was talking about targeted individuals and gang stalking. I have to remember that this channel is a terror channel, and therefore you may not be familiar with these particular labels. A targeted individual is someone that is chosen, selected by whomever, I don't know. For what reason, I don't know. I theorize it's because of the third eye being open. But you are chosen or selected by, again, I don't know, government or the darker forces that exist here. How it works, I haven't been able to figure it out. All I know is that I experience it. And once you're a target individual, the things that I've talked about and most of what I will continue to talk about are the types of harassment that one undergoes in order to destabilize a person or try to lead them to doubt themselves or think that something is wrong with them. Well, they do a good job, of course. This is the age of deception. Makes you wonder. We'll talk about that, pick up on that, makes you wonder in one of the later categories I'm going to deal with. Gang stalking are the people that on YouTube, they say that are hired by whomever to harass you. Now, I don't know, again, how this is done. Is this done by demonic forces, the devil's advocates, and it's just in their nature to be guided by the darker forces? And so they gang up on people or follow people or harass people or slander people or, that kind of thing, those selected people, those targeted individuals like myself. Well, let's talk about one of the gang stalkers relative to sound weaponry. One day I was laying in my bed and an individual that resides down the block from me comes and sits in front of my home in their van, playing this loud, heavy, when I say I've never heard any music as heavy as this, heavy, dark, demonic music. And I like music. Heck, I listen to all kind of music, all kinds. I party now. But this music was heavy. And the vibration was so annoying. The tone, it's not a melody. I'm not a music expert, but the vibration of the song was so heavy. And they sat out there for an hour, I think, first. And I'm like, oh, this is too much. I'm expecting at any moment this person is going to pull off. But they just sat and they just played it and it played the same song non-stop for an hour. I don't recall any lyrics. All I recall is that heavy, low, dense, demonic vibration. It went on so long that I thought I would begin to vomit. And finally, they left. Whew. And I was so aware that if I had to deal with that, I would probably go crazy. Guess what? They must have went to the store right around the block, went to the store, came right back, and sat for hours listening to the same music, if you want to call it music, if I could call it music. The heavy, dense, dark, demonic vibration over and over again for the next few hours. It finally stopped. I was praying. I had tears in my eyes. I was like, enough. And it even pulled my spirit down. Now I know a lot of this sounds strange to a lot of you. But I confess it's so true. And I've been dealing with these kind of attacks for 30 years. Like I said, that experience I had with the person in the van right in front of my home was just one day within a year, one experience. And I've been dealing with it for 30 years. It seems like a correlation exists between all these things I talk about going on in the activation of my third eye. And through the experiences I've had that have pulled the veils back, experience after experience, I gain more enlightenment. The removal of each veil is enlightening. When I say, and I talk about the age of deception, what do I mean? I'm going to go back real quick. I talked about the Mandela effect, dimension shifting, being a targeted individual, and gang stalking. I've talked about sensory weapons. How do they play into the age of deception? With the Mandela effect, remember that is if you know something and some time later it comes out that ain't even true. Well, during the age of deception, as well as including dimension shifting, you target individual, the weapons I'm gonna kind of save later, but it's the Mandela effect and the dimensional shifting, those kind of things, will cause you or is made to lead an individual to doubt themselves. To doubt yourself. You know what you know. You know what you experience. You know what you went through at any given time. You know your experiences. You know the truth. But the Mandela effect and dimensional shifting, who causes it? I don't know. That's a big question to be answered. I do believe soon we will be able to answer it. I really do. But it will cause a person to doubt themselves. Once a person doubts their own sanity or senses or anything like that, completely doubt it and will dismiss their awareness, totally dismiss it based on a presented experience that runs totally 100% contrary to what you have always known, is the greatest tool in the age of deception. That means that a person can make you think or believe anything. So I bring it up because it seems like it's been this exercise that has been going on. Many people haven't even been aware of the Mandela effect or the dimensional shifts that have been taking place. Things they just ignore and keep moving and say, I was wrong, and I was wrong, and you continue to adjust yourself accordingly. The veil was lifted for me. I can't ignore what I know. I can't ignore. I'm going to give you an example. Here on YouTube, I've watched videos about people looking at like the Bernstein Bears name, the little book and little story. And it's saying it is, what's the Bernstein or something? I don't know. But it's this variation in the name. And some people just keep moving, never think about it, just adjust themselves accordingly to line up with that which is offered new. Knowing very well in their through their common sense that wasn't the case, but never stopped to challenge it. Therefore, the veil for them is still on. They're led by any changes that whoever wants to make. Where, like I said, when I turned 17, my third eye was open. To see Mandela effects is something that I can't ignore, never could ignore. So for 30 years, I've been experiencing Mandela effects, which led me, dimensional shifts, which led me to keep the immaculate records for the long periods of time that I have. And I could go much deeper, but this is a public domain. So I'm going to keep it user friendly and friendly for myself. When it comes to weather manipulation, weather weapons, in which whomever, I don't know, affects or influences the weather to cause extreme temperatures. I've been a witness. I'm sorry, I just thought about something I heard on the news one winter. It was so cold, I didn't even want to eat. I did not want to eat. I didn't want to go in the freezer. It was so much snow here in Michigan. I would look out the door like, is this going to ever end? It was piled up so high and it was so cold. And I remember watching the news and they said it was a vortex winter. I had never heard that statement in over 40 years, vortex, but okay, that's fine. Anyway, the weather, the manipulation of weather. We say these are such big things, big things. How can somebody lead you to be able to experience something and not be true? I guess I can say, I guess I said that right. You know, if it's hot, it's hot. If it's cold, it's cold. That's normal. But the video I talked about in the last video, I think it was, where I told you I made a video called "This Heat is Not Natural. You're Being Microwaved." I showed pictures of what I saw in the sky, and of course, some viewers offered an explanation for what I saw connected with the sun. I looked it up. I researched it. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I can't even think what they call it. Something that happens with photography or something. No, it doesn't make any sense. See, people deny their experiences. Third eye does not allow you to deny your experiences. And then you got common sense, and you're in this physical world. You can go do your own research, go past what the system is telling you. Once you go past what the system is telling you, you will discover some things that will probably open up your third eye. That's if you're interested in opening up your third eye. As we are in this grand age of deception. When it comes to the weather weapons, there is a great significance, significance relative to the population, power and control over the population. If you have the potential to focus heat and energy upon the flesh, you can cook them alive. If you can block the sun out and the rays and do whatever they do to cause a sub-zero extended experience, you can freeze them to death. Either way, you can keep people in their house so that they are not protesting, rising up, etc., etc. We are living during the age of deception and we are being manipulated. Is there a problem, Rue? Okay. No problem. This is just a friendly video. I'm just conversating with them. Okay. As I announced in the earlier video, I am just at home having a conversation with y'all, taking you into Nancy's Wonderland and sharing my life story, my experiences, especially relative to deception and the overall age of deception. Rue, can you hand me a Twix whenever you get up in a bottle of water? Matter of fact, I might need 2 Twixes, 2. It's harvest time to eat all the junk I can. Now, the next thing I want to talk about that I know personally, we're living during the age of deception, thank you, you the best. You want to smile for the camera? Oh, here. I can understand. Okay, M&M's was in the first video. In miniature Twix. 2 Twix. And a bottle of water, nice bottle of water. You see, I'm healthy. I do healthy things. Anyway, the next thing is what I personally have experienced, I've experienced so much, but some of what I want to touch base on is human, scientific human experimentation. I too, and I've said it in other videos, I have been that guinea pig. I know it to be true. I know that our establishments that we trust, that we grow up believing has our best interests at heart, will do some scandalous stuff in the dark. That is another thing that I've looked up on YouTube, and I found a little bit about it. We are living in an age of deception. We don't know who to believe or what to believe. We are living in a world that is very corrupt. And it is time for us to be able to discern. We got to learn how to discern what's real and what is not. Discern if someone is telling the truth or not. For many years in my life, I got to the point where I didn't even want to share. You know, it's annoying being labeled. You'd be like, everything I say is wrong? You know, that doesn't make any sense. So you end up keeping it to yourself. And I'm not just talking about myself. I'm talking about people in the world at large. And in keeping it to yourself allows other institutions and establishments to continue to perform acts that are not, what would we call it? Civil? Civil. We are living in an age of deception. Now, the old schoolers, my old schoolers, you know, the old dogs and old cats, old Kit Kats, you know, they've lived during multiple generations. They have seen things come and go. They know something ain't right. But they too were part of the earlier part of the age of deception. And many of them handed it down. Most of them handed it down to the next generation and the next generation. Everybody's staying quiet, doubting their own senses. And the institutions are continuing to perform their uncivil acts upon mankind. It's difficult to see now. Why are we so confused? Sexuality. I just seen something that was talking about Playboy, I guess, published their first transgender Playboy model. We're living in the age of deception. When a man can be as beautiful or even more beautiful than a naturally born woman, you can't tell. You're living in the age of deception. I do say, to each his own. Do what you do. You only got to answer to God, the Most High. But when you can stand in the presence of a person and not be able to tell their birth gender, you know you're living in an age of deception. Then there is plastic surgery. You can change whatever you want about yourself. To a person, can't even recognize you. They've known you their whole life. An example, a very popular pop culture example, is Little Kim, the rap star. Last time I seen an image of her, I was like, who is that? Another, I frequently use Michael Jackson. Like, where you come from? You know, but he gone now, but, you know. And so it's this age of deception. One can look in the mirror and not even recognize themselves. I guess they recognize their spirit behind themselves, that which animates them, but physically, it's not even the same person. We're living in the age of deception, implants. You know, you can get you some boobies if you weren't born with any. You can get you some biceps. You can get you a fake knee. You know, age of deception. It's getting very, very hard to decipher what is true and what is natural. It's so much going on that we can't identify where it begins and where it ends. Racism is another, shrouded, kept secretly, but it is real. And it's a scary thing because as an African American, I too believe that there are certain people that I should be able to go to and have the highest of trust in. Not to have to fear for my life because I need their service, such as a doctor or a dentist. People that hold my life and the well-being of my life in their hands. And to get under a knife or anesthesia from a person that detests you because of your skin color. They won't say it. They're going to make that money. They're going to get that insurance money or whatever the case may be. We're living in the age of deception, and it's very, very dangerous. These are just some examples. Again, we don't know where it begins or ends. We don't even believe that some of these things exist. The Mandela effect, dimensional shifting, gang stalking, being a targeted individual, sound weaponry, weather modification kind of weapons, being a human scientific experiment. No, that's against the law. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. Implants that are that malfunction, you know, and the companies know that it's not a good product, but they will still charge you, have you pay to put that piece in your body, knowing it's no good, taking a chance with your life. It goes on and on. It's the age of deception. And the deception, what I'm trying to build upon, is coming from all angles. We don't know where it begins and where it ends. How do we learn to discern what is true, what is right, and what is natural? How do we? This is where the things I'm talking about are where we sit now. Now, I've been going through it for 30 years. This is where we sit now. Imagine another 10 years from now where we would be. Oh, If you only knew. The veil for many is lifting. One veil after the other. One veil after another. And how does a veil get removed for a person with implants? A person says, oh, I want to, get some boobies or whatever. You go out, you visit with the doctor and everything. You got the confidence that this is a professional. And I've known people that have done this or liposuction and stuff. I know a few people that have done this and the surgery was botched. They pay thousands and thousands of dollars going under the knife. They called themselves researching and studying and following the doctor, while they sitting in the waiting room talking to other clients. And they have full confidence in this professional. And that professional botches them. And they're living with disfigurement, some for the rest of their lives. If others have money, they may seek another surgeon. I know people that have done that and they will correct it. Veil lifted. a veil lifted for somebody because they found that surgeon, that plastic surgeon, as this example, or the person that put the implant in, or the company did not have that individual's best interests at heart. They didn't care. You were a dollar. You made them wealthy. And you left, in some cases, miserable. The veil is removed. Science, the human scientific experimentation. You go to any major institution, any hospital, or wherever, dentist, wherever. You have full confidence in these professionals, and another person's veil is pulled back because they go in for a service. And oh, I heard about this in the penitentiary as well. People that are in the penitentiary, they didn't do something wrong. Maybe there's a whole nother video. Okay, but we're gonna say people in the penitentiary, and while behind bars, nobody believes them. Why? Because they're labeled a criminal, a degenerate, and so in that institution, anything is done to them. When they come out and try to tell a story, nobody hears them. Why? Because you already been labeled. It is something your ass wasn't supposed to do. And now that you've been labeled, nobody will listen to you. But that person that goes through that experience, the veil is pulled back. You begin to see that which we have been raised to trust in is something that we cannot trust in. It seems all about money for the most part. Now, social media. We love social media. It really connects us. It allows us to network. It doesn't matter where we are in the world. But yet, everything that, even if made for good, has the potential to be, have a dark side, of course. And when it comes to social media, the issue is that people present themselves sometime on social media like, life is grand. Life is grand. And the person that is viewing their page or whatever you call it, wall, or I don't know what they call it, begins to feel less important, less beautiful, less loved, because this other seems to have this amazing life that leads to depression. But this person is being deceived in some cases because that person that has a fabulous life, once the camera goes off, they're basically in the same situation or worse than the person that is viewing them. But this is the age of deception. In this case, when you are able to pull back the veil, when you know somebody, you be like, that ain't how they life going. They up there faking the funk on the Facebook. They faking the funk. Be like, that ain't what was happening yesterday. You was just crying and doing all kind of stuff. The veil, again, is peeled back, and you begin to see how we are being deceived on even the mundanest level. The deception is from this great broad level down to the smallest mundane level. It's so much deception going on that we can't see. We don't know where it begins or where it ends, and we're preoccupied with our lives. And we have been permitting this world and this existence and this experience to lead us to not even acknowledge what we know, or to stop and take a rational peek at something that seems quite strange. We don't listen to people's stories. Some of us don't even break our own lives down. Many of us have many, many, many deep, dark secrets. And therefore, the age of deception continues to grow, or the level or the depth of deception continues to grow. And now I want to get into something a little more radical. And y'all ready? Y'all ready? I'm going a little rash though. A little more radical. Aliens, chemtrails, and those kind of things. These are also topics that I have end up bumping into while on YouTube. We hear people talk about aliens. Oh, they crazy. Oh, they want their 15 minutes of fame, or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, we don't believe them. We don't believe them, not at all. And what can I say when talking about aliens and chemtrails as well? Well, I'll tell you a little story. When I was younger, my mom, I told her I saw some strange things. And she shared with me an experience she had in which she was what? Abducted by aliens. Now, we're talking about, this had to be in the 80s. We're talking about another black woman in a city, working, professional woman, saying she got abducted by aliens. Described it all. Now we have a label for it. They call it the reptilians. It said something like some dragon people came and took her. They have taken her multiple times in the course of her life. My mom was considerably older than myself. I'm like, what? I never believed in aliens. Not really. But I'm going to tell you a story about what happened recently. And she told me, well, Nancy, these are the kind of things that we keep to ourselves, people that have those kind of experiences, because you don't want to be what? Labeled as crazy. You know, it can stop you from succeeding in this world. So you just move forward and you go on. Just the other day, I went outside. It was about 4 days ago. Number 2. And the sky was crystal blue. I was like, wow. Haven't seen the sky in a long time. Chemtrails. Thanks to chemtrails. Oh, I forget what this channel is about. I'm just ranting here and taking you down Nancy's rabbit hole. What is a chemtrail? It is believed that chemtrails are chemicals with alloys and other contaminants that are released in the sky to shield the earth from the sun. That's that white plume you see out of skies, or white or grayed out, rather than the crystal blue I seen for the first time in weeks, 4 days ago. So I sat out on the couch, sat out on the porch. Matter of fact, I sat on the stairs, leaning back, just looking up. And while I was out there, I saw so many folks flying. I seen a commercial airline. This was in minutes. I don't live too far from an airport. And so I saw multiple airplanes. But in this one direction in the sky, I saw a commercial airplane. I saw like a crop airplane or a 2-passenger airplane. I seen that. And they flew, you know, and on different levels. The passenger, first I have to start. First thing that came through the sky, headed from west to east, was a jet, like a military jet plane. I was like, wow, they are here, you know, testing and you know, practicing. Beautiful day. So I'm just laid back looking at it. Jet come flying through. Right behind the jet, trailing it, is one of those airplanes fixed whatever device or mechanism releases the chemtrails into the sky. It comes right behind the jet. I think the latitude altitude was a little lower than the flight military jet, a little lower. And so the plume of smoke was coming out and beginning to, spread out over the sky. It moves on across the sky. A few minutes later, so it's the jet, and then lower altitude, just a little lower. Here comes the airplane dropping the chemtrails. And then below that, here comes a commercial airliner. They're all on the same line or column, but riding at different altitudes within moments behind each other. And then under the passenger airline is that private plane, but it goes, what would that be, horizontal across it. This little private airplane. So I'm sitting back looking up at the sky like, isn't that nice? Everybody's out flying and enjoying themselves on this beautiful crystal blue clear day. Wow. Before I could inhale after that thought, or actually I was talking to myself, up in the sky, because I'm still leaning back in the chair looking straight up. I'm talking about this was as high as the stars, y'all. As high as the stars. I saw something that looked like, at first I said it was like a little peel or a capsule shooting across the sky. So I'm like, what the is that? What is that? And I'm like, but it was way up there, like the stars. I'm like, what is that? A few moments later, trailing right behind it. Now, what I failed to mention is the line or the column that this capsule or these capsules were traveling on from east to west, the same line that the military jet airplane went on at this highest altitude with the one that dropped the chemtrails, the commercial airline, the private airplane, the capsule itself was 2-3 times up in the air. I'm talking about like where we see the stars at night zooming across the sky, look like a capsule. So I said, oh my, my mind going through, processing like, what could this be? I know these fools ain't released no missile, like, what can this be? Before I could, not before, because I couldn't process it. As my mind is processing it, here comes another one. And the altitude was out there. Like I said, like they were out there with what we call the stars in the heavens. 2 like capsules, so maybe missiles were going. So I'm thinking, oh, they ain't about to blow nothing up. I said, no, that's impossible. Thank goodness I was correct and no fools let nothing go. But what were those? And up so high, the altitude was so high, nobody would have ever noticed them. Except for me, crazy, strange Nancy sitting outside, laid back in a chair, looking up in the sky and just staring. The airplane couldn't see it, not with the passenger airline. It can't see on top of itself, even though they came through at different times within moments of each other. But those capsules that were moving overhead had to overtake all these planes I'm talking about. I was like, but they can't see it because it's too far up and it's directly overhead. They're on the same line path. So 2 of those capsules travel. Like I shared in that story while I was out there. Oh, got a little bit more. So I'm still sitting in the chair. And what the fuck is that? And out of nowhere, another airplane comes. Out of nowhere. One of the ones that dropped the chemtrails. The airplanes that I spoke of were riding west to east. The airplane that popped out of the sky from nowhere was riding north to south, directly toward me. So now I'm paranoid. And right, because it just popped out of nowhere. And like right over my head, I was like, this mother cut straight at me. I was, oh Lord, I'm going in the house. I'd have seen something I ain't supposed to see. That mother sucker flicked that switch and all that chemtrail spray started spraying out. And I watch it coming directly for me. I told my dogs, y'all come on in the house, right now. And we came in the house. I closed the windows, the doors, everything. I said, whatever they trying to drop down, because I done seen something I ain't supposed to see. I was like, okay. Say, Nancy, don't get all paranoid and stuff, but I'm still wondering what those capsules are. We are living in the age of deception. There are things that are not being told to us. There's enlightenment that something does not want mankind to have. The next day, I go outside to take the dogs outside, and now the sky is white. Why is it white? Because all the planes with the chemtrails have come and they've laid the pattern out. The sky is white. But every now and then, it's a little space here off in the distance that I can see through and see some crystal blue. I'm like, oh, okay, beautiful up there. But the majority of what I see is just smoky white. So I'm laying back on my porch on the stair, and I'm just staring up. Then all of a sudden, I see some commercial airplanes. Because like I said, I'm not too far from the airport. I see some commercial airplanes. They're going in for a landing or just taking off. And so their altitude is below these clouds. And the clouds aren't very high. I was like, these planes are really riding low today. I said, okay. And so I'm just staring up at the sky, stargazing, looking at the little gaps wherever I could see the blue sky. I said, that's amazing that on the other side of all these clouds is crystal blue skies, clear. And so I'm just staring up at the sky because I'm watching the airplanes and the strange kind of film or smoke or clouds in the sky. And on the other side of those clouds were shadows. And the shadow was not black, it was red. And the shadow was like that of, guess what, y'all? The Target symbol, like Target the store. So here, just ride away with me. If it was a spacecraft, a space saucer or something, the bottom of it was made like Target. And the shadow itself that it created, although very, very dull, was red, just like the Target sign. And I'm watching them go, and so I'm just staring. And I could see it was like a whole bunch of traffic up there. I'm like, oh, shit. I'm seeing something I shouldn't see. I was like, come on, dogs, let's go on back in. I got to stop sky gazing. Again, we're living in the age of deception. Going back to the chemtrails. Are the chemtrails being sprayed in the sky to shield us from the sun? Because maybe the sun is going into a supernova kind of thing, beginning that process, which may make it a bit warmer. I don't think so. No. Because I've seen that there's something up there that amplifies the sun and they're able to direct that energy. That wouldn't be necessary to do, to put that amplifier up there that they can direct the heat with if the sun was extremely hot. No, they would be going in the opposite direction and doing something like chemtrails, one or the other, but they're doing both. So Are the chemtrails up there to block us from seeing something like spaceships that have aliens in them? Sounds strange. I too had never thought about aliens per se, or who was this? Thought about aliens or anything like that other than what my mom shared, what she shared with me. It was strange. Then I'm like, this woman nuts. And that was my mom. And I know she was a serious minded woman, you know? And so I just bring my mom up to say, even those close to us, we have a hard time believing them when they share some strange tales with us. And this too is a part of why the age of deception is in place and is continuing to grow. I don't think I have much more to say. I have about 9 more minutes before I have to close this video down so that I can upload it. But I'd like to mention a few other things that have been part of or has contributed to our current age of deception. And a few more is virtual worlds now with the computers. Gaming, gaming. Now they getting the thing where you wear the goggles and 3Ds and holograms. And I know it was a time that I was really into some gaming. I was. And I would play sometime for hours. And I would literally forget this world and be totally immersed in the virtual world. And it's been a long while since I played some games. Every year they're getting more advanced, more detailed, making it more real. And it's been going on for years, 30 years at least. So for a real live gamer that has stayed up to date with all the latest technology and gaming systems and items or instruments that go with the gaming, our perception, your perception is being molded. We have now fake news. We don't even know when the news is real or not. I'll stop watching because there's no way to tell. I personally have known of people's stories and been there when the situation happened, and the news didn't report what happened. They fabricated it to make it big, fabulous, and grandioso. Politics. They tell you one thing, it becomes another. They legalized marijuana by state, but it became, but not federally, And so it's this age of deception. It's all around us. It's all around us. The educational system, we are now becoming enlightened to some or many of the errors or deceptions that have been given to us or taught to us as we came through our educational systems. We are buried in all of this. Where does it begin? Where does it end? We're in the age of deception. We are so preoccupied with what they call like keeping up with the Joneses, wanting that life of luxury. And even if you're not into it for the luxury part, it is about survival. And that is where our attention is directed. And it's been a lot of wool being pulled over our eyes. However, there is something going on. People are awakening. But will we waken quickly enough before, it's too late? What does too late mean? I'm not quite sure yet. But I just wanted to, share and nothing else to do. Talk a little bit about what Nancy's Wonderland and our current age of deception. maybe some other time I'll make a script and come back and we'll hack up the age of deception, or not just the age of deception, but deception itself, so that we can begin to see clearly. Thank you for coming to Ride the Wave with me, Nancy. Until next time. Bye.